Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to this Friday's edition of the Unity Forum. My name is, for those of you who don't know me, Brett Riley. I am NuPath's Vice President of Marketing and Communications, and there's a lot going on right now. We're going to change it up today. There's been some scheduling conflicts and really busy week, but we thought we'd change it up. Dan asked if I would host this week. And basically because our focus this week is going to be on our employment services. And I joined the company 5 years ago as our Director of Employment Supports. And I've had experience with all of our panelists today. And we thought it would be fun to do something a little bit different and give Dan a break. So that's what's going on. We'll try and be through this in about an hour. It's going to be a fun hour. We've got some really exciting guests, and I think you'll recognize, if not all of them, most of them. So Greg, if you could bring our first guest to our vision. It's Elder Suarez. There he is. He is a little frozen, and now he's not.
Yeah. Hey guys. Hey Brett.
How are you, Elder?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We've seen a lot of each other this week. The weeks just keep flying by, don't they?
Sure do. Yeah.
Amazing. I think I want to note, when I interviewed with the company 5 years ago, I got to interview with you. I think you were the first person to interview me, and you were pretty easy. You were pretty easy. I think we kind of hit it off right away and realized that we could work together. And 5.5 years later, here we sit. So.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
We wanted to bring you on. You have been with the company. You're in your 11th year. I have that right, correct?
It is. Yeah, 11th year.
In your current position, if ever fitting for a pandemic, is Director of Stabilization Services. Is that correct?
It is correct. Yeah.
Boy, if there's ever been a time to stabilize everything and anything you could get your hands on, it's now. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. So I want to give a few brief notes for the audience today. I did a little bit of digging. I'm not sure we have an official fact checker. I asked Greg to check my facts, but I'm not sure he did today. My numbers tell me that you are the #1 Club 50 Dynasty member in money raised. What that means is you've been in Club 50 every year since 2015. And you've raised $16,220 as part of that club. And that's an amazing task. And then I also looked at how far you've come in this year's campaign since we suspended it, and you raised over $4,300. So if my calculations are right, you've raised over $20,000 for NuPath. That's incredible, incredible.
I didn't realize there was that much. That's yeah, that's something.
It's pretty awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about how you've done that over the years, and then maybe, as we end that part of the conversation, we can kind of charge the folks that are watching on how we might get cranking again on our campaign this year.
Yeah, I mean, fundraising wasn't a thing that I was really big into, prior to working at NuPath, or even during my, when I first started at NuPath. But then, once the walk started, vamping up, it was something that I was just like, I have a lot of connections in this agency. I was like, and, within the agency, with stakeholders, with, the department. So I'm like, oh, I feel like this is something that I could really, grab onto and, and run with it. And then obviously I was the manager in Woburn Street. I started my career at NuPath, as a direct care staff, doing piecework with our individuals. So I built a lot of relationships, and then becoming the manager of Passport Studios, it's one of the biggest programs in the agency. So there was a lot of connections with families, with through employment, and then once you build those strong relationships with the families, and the stakeholders and the department, the money just seems to to keep rolling in. And every year the relationships keep getting better. With that brings higher amounts of donations, which has been successful for me. But like I said in other forums, it's all about the relationships you build with people, and that's really where it comes from.
Well, I can tell you, it comes from being lightning fast reaching out, because I have had more dead calls to me where the answer is elder already reached me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, usually when we have the kickoff party, I set up the page that same night, and yeah, you got to really get out in front of it. You know,
yeah,
you got to lead the charge, or else you're gonna fall behind quickly.
well, it's an incredible model you've built, and it's so automatic. I watch the numbers closely, as you know, and just to see the leaderboard go so fast, you're always out front. But I can tell you, I spoke to Betsy Bollier the other day, and she's pretty proud to have that place in time right now. So,
Yeah.
so I would encourage, this is the point where I wanted to encourage folks to re-engage with their walk pages and start to use the assets that we've built to share and get out on social media and reach out to your friends and family. We know that, now is the time that we really need support more than ever. So, so I think that's a very important initiative, and we'll continue that conversation. As it pertains to the famous question everybody has to answer right now is, what have you been doing in the last 10 weeks? I think it's more, what have you not been doing in the last 10 weeks? And I know Ted put you a little on the spot this week in our first virtual business meeting, where we got together again. We had about 55 of the senior management team get together and discuss, some current and initiatives that have been happening over the last 10 weeks. But can you tell us a little bit about from setting up the care center to the distribution of PPE and other technologies? You've really been all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, there's there's been a lot going on since we closed our doors on March 16th. What we've been doing, there's a lot of things that I'd never envisioned I'd be doing in my NuPath career. So it came out of nowhere. If we thought we had a lot of policies in place before, the amount of policies that went into place in a matter of days was truly unbelievable. And it was a team effort. We had so many documents going around, so many people doing different things. So it was truly remarkable to see how quickly something that got thrown at us so fast, and how we developed systems to make things run like we didn't even miss a beat. Yeah, and then comes the other thing with, then we turned our group homes into 24-hour service. We were so used to our staff coming to the day program. Staff were extremely flexible, going to work at the group home, so that to make sure that people were covered for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We didn't know. First, we thought this was going to go on for a couple of weeks, and here we are 10, 11 weeks into it. Then another role was, the PPE. It was extremely hard to find. It's gotten better over time. At the beginning, orders were out a month and a half to get anything as far as masks, gowns, hand sanitizer, cleaning supplies. So it was just reaching out to the different vendors. A lot of things were still coming from overseas. They were getting stuck at customs. We put in orders that never showed up just because they were being seized at the border for different reasons. There was a lot of price gouging, so we were just trying to, keep our staff and our individuals safe and get as many, the PPE equipment. We have myself, other staff. Kern is out delivering supplies daily. We're out to the group homes, making sure people are stocked, with what they need. Setting up the care center, another team effort. To the thought that we would be turning in one of our, day programs into a care center, and truly, that idea of the care center was, it came about from a team of us, and it's been a great success for our agency. People are going through there that are, have tested positive with the COVID, and they've recovered well. And I couldn't thank the staff enough, that have come through there. Another piece was, reaching out to the staff to see who wanted to work in a facility, with people that are positive. And the response that I've gotten from staff, everybody, when I reach out to them, there's been a great, number of a pool of people that have really stepped up and helped that run as smoothly as possible. So it was yeah, like I said, just the care center, that whole setup was unbelievable. And then us, hosting a pop-up site in Westford, there's a team that, put that together, ran it for the day, making sure we could test staff and individuals coming through there. Then we got the, virtual programming, that came out of nowhere as well. Whoever thought that, we'd be able to put up a brand new program, testing new waters, and that's been a success, as well. Just keeping our people connected. These are people that were used to going to day programs, and all of a sudden, with no notice, the day is, their routine is disrupted, and it's out of the ordinary. And I think the virtual programming has really helped keep people connected, and know what's going on, and help them continue with a sense of normalcy with their everyday programming that they were used to at their day programs.
Yeah, that's been incredible, and I know we share a seat on that task force, and we meet once a week and talk about how we can not just have those virtual programs, but how we can continue to improve them. And really look to the future, and what those might look like for folks that may not be able to travel or may not be able to come to a program when things open back up for certain medical reasons or who knows what. But we are certainly well poised to continue those well into the future.
And in a way too, it's kind of been a little bit of a blessing with the whole pandemic, because we've talked so much about technology around increasing navigating life, getting that out, using FaceTime and Skype and Zoom. This just put an accelerated push on it. So it really, that talking, we saved ourselves 3 years of planning in a matter of 2 weeks. So it was great to see how quickly, it all came together with technology as well.
And I think at times a lot of us feel like maybe we've never felt so connected to people, where this almost forces our hand to take Zoom calls or connect via FaceTime or however we have to do it. And we know how effective navigating life has been. We see the comments come in from families that can't see their loved ones physically, but they certainly can virtually, and kind of keep tabs on their accomplishments. So that's been great. Reading my notes here, I just want to sort of segue into our next guests, but not quite yet until we talk about, you oversee the employment initiative as a general statement. That's correct, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. And you are currently working closely with Greg and Barry, two of our employment coordinators, to facilitate a virtual class each Thursday that talks about workforce reentry, if you will, for the people we support. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we as with the employment team, we developed, we wanted to, obviously when people go back to work, it's not going to look the same to what they were used to. So we developed an online curriculum. The plan is to go 10 weeks with every class touching on a different part of safety. So it's safety preparation and re-entering the workplace under the new norm. Obviously, a lot of our people were used to, going to work. They knew what they were expecting every single day. But with the whole, with COVID around, we're going to have to really change and think about the way we're looking at things and how we're sending people back into work. So Barry and Greg do an excellent job covering, the proper use of the masks, how to hand sanitizer, the masks, social distancing. So, for our people, this is broken down, class by class. Then that way we're not overloading it too much, and the information can really sink in. Everybody knows that the unemployment rates are extremely high. These classes, this is the perfect time to really get our people trained, for this new norm. Just because we know, unfortunately, our people, when this whole pandemic hit, we're the first ones to get let go. And we want to make sure that we have them trained so that we can get them back into the work as quickly as possible, but also to be successful and keep their employment at their employer. So this class has really focused on different facets of safety and everybody and the individual's well-being, as well as the people that they're working with, and prepare them for the new norm when they get back out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's, is what I was talking about earlier, is how our group meets each week to figure out how can we be innovative thinkers and continue to stay in front of these virtual classes. And this is just another example of that us using innovation to continue to grow the virtual program. So that's fabulous. Well, I know you've probably got more work in some capacity, some running around to do right now, late on a Friday afternoon. So I don't want to keep you any longer. But I do, as Ted said the other day, on behalf of the whole organization, just thank you again for all the hard work, and can't wait to see you in person soon.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. And, like I said yesterday at our management meeting, it's really been a team effort. A lot of people, make this whole, new norm very successful for our agency and supporting our people.
Great. Well, we'll kick it over to Greg to bring in our next guest. Thanks, Elder. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. You as well. Thank you.
So we're going to stay on an employment theme. There she is. Hi, Lisa. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Crystal clear.
All right. How are you?
Welcome. I'm doing well. I want to welcome Lisa Carrier. I would guess probably 100% of our audience today knows who you are. We know you're there with Lester Lynn. You support Lester on a lot of levels, a lot of capacities. Hi, Lester. How you doing?
Good. You?
I'm doing great. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
So, Lisa, I want to start with you. A little bit of fact checking here. I dig back and realized that you've been with the company. You're in your 13th year.
I am.
That's pretty amazing. That says a lot on both levels, I think. It says a lot about you and the company. And you're a longtime advocate for. Whoop, you might have frozen up there. No, you're not frozen. Okay, you're good. Longtime advocate for employment supports for folks living with disabilities. And when you reach back over 13 years, how many people you've probably impacted just getting a job, and how important, we know the rabbit hole we can go down about how important it is to work. It impacts everything from our financial lives to our social lives. But you've been sort of a long-standing staple, if you will, at NuPath. And I remember when I joined the employment team, you welcomed me with open arms. I always felt really comfortable. And to this day, I hope you agree with this statement. You're sort of my behind-the-scenes go-to person. So if I need to find out some dirt on something, I come find it. And you're usually the one well, not dirt, but really what I was trying to say was,
I know what you're trying to say.
Whether it's information about people for our annual celebrations or just general company information, I know who my go-to folks are, and you're usually the first call I make. So thank you for all the years you've been supporting me. I want you to talk a little bit about this amazing program called Job Camp. You are a co-teacher, if you will, of Job Camp, and have been for many years. And I've had the pleasure of being in a lot of job camps and stopping in as many times as I can since I've been sort of out of that department, but staying connected, and you're always right there teaching. So talk a little bit about that, and then maybe we can transition into Lester's support that you've given and his experiences with Job Camp, and we'll get into Lester's story.
Just to so you know, I started out in direct care. So I've been 13 years ago, I was in direct care for 6 years, and then I've been in employment for 6 years. So I've been able to see some people move, grow tremendously from not even thinking that having a job ever was ever a possibility. It was even out there for them. And I'll tell you, joining the employment team was the best thing. The change in my job, the change in my spirit, the change in my attitude towards everything has changed, because it gives us so much back. I feel like it's a gift, my job. When someone gets a job, their first job, it's a life changer. I mean, we take for granted all these things, and the pride that I see on their faces, when they get, Lester, when Lester got a job, man, he was just so excited. it's a game changer. You're hanging with new people. You're without your, you don't have NuPath hanging over your shoulder saying, do this, don't do that, whatever. You're out there with regular people in the regular community doing a job and getting a paycheck. It's just a great feeling. So being in employment, I just wanted to stress that how wonderful it's been and how rewarding it is. Talking to my folks every day, I've got like 15 on my caseload, and they're just texting me and Zooming me and duo calling me and just hanging out, even when we don't need to talk about work. So that's been awesome. Job camp has been an extraordinary experience. Watching people start in job camp, but they're very timid. They're very, they're very timid. They don't know what to expect. But boy, they grow really quickly. Lester was really reluctant to join job camp. A lot of people are. But the changes, the confidence that I've seen job camp give them. Bill, our facilitator, our volunteer who just does an incredible job, gives everybody such a sense of self, such a sense of confidence. It's an amazing thing to watch. It really is. Anybody that's watching that has the opportunity, I'd love to invite you to join job camp once, because it is just an amazing experience, something to see. And people who finish job camp leave with a different sense of self. They come out the other end with a diploma or a certificate of completion and a different sense of self. They have a lot more confidence. It's just wonderful. So Lester,
Yeah, Johnny can't.
We should just make note to the audience that the physical job camp ended the day we left programs, but virtual job camp continues, and it has not missed a beat. And I think what's important to note is that, like we all are going through difficult times, is trying to understand, what the heck is happening in this world. Our folks that we support are affected by this similarly, and job camp has pivoted, I guess is the key word these days, to address some of those needs and supports. And that, along with the course that Elder was talking about, is really a full approach in getting our folks back to work safely and helping everybody understand the impact of the pandemic and everything else going on. So job camp lives on.
Job camp has changed a lot. I mean, job camp, we have our curriculum, we stay the same, we do the same things with a different group every year. So, we get a couple different quirks and turns and bumps and stuff. But this year with the pandemic, some of our individuals have lost their jobs. Their residential facilities have made them quit their jobs because they have quarantined their homes. Their jobs aren't opening back up again. There are so many different scenarios, and it's difficult to support the individuals because they don't understand what's going on or why what's happened is happening, and we don't either. This is a crazy time. So to get our minds around that, and then one step further, how to support the individuals through this it's tough, but we're doing it. Every week is a challenge, and we come together, and we see all their faces, and they're thrilled to be there, and it's
great. So, gentleman Lester, to your right there, Lester hasn't been with NuPath a very long time. He started with us in 2019, about a year, right, Lester?
With NuPath?
That'll be 1 year,
How long has it been?
couple months.
With NuPath?
Yeah.
Oh, a couple months, he says.
Okay.
Sometime in 2019. Yep.
We'll debate that when I see you again, Lester. But
Yeah.
So Lester started at job camp early this year, and then he was an early graduate, meaning he got a job. And I dug a little bit to hear about the story. Lester works at Dave & Buster's, and we were hoping to have Lester's manager, Linda, on, although we weren't able to pull that off today for a few different reasons. But I spoke at length with Linda, and first of all, she misses you greatly, Lester. She does definitely consider you a friend. I'm sure you must miss her at this point.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, we're a little frozen there.
Yeah, we're having a hard time with the sound connection all of a sudden.
yeah.
Okay, well, I can hear you.
Okay, all right, I got you then.
Okay. So Lester, I'd like you to talk a little bit about Dave and Buster's, and what Linda told me was that you had become her friend early on when they first opened. She said
Yeah.
you were there almost every day
The
for,
day they open and came in here.
The day that they opened what?
Day the button open.
Oh, the first day that they opened, you
Yeah,
went there?
Yeah,
Oh, gosh.
that's what she told me.
yeah. I went
And-
to play game.
And you play the games?
Yeah,
And
What's
I
your favorite?
I don't know if I'm talking out of school, but she says your favorite drink is lemonade. Is that right?
no, IT.
Iced tea.
Okay.
Uh,
Well,
You
she
been
said
there?
what was most notable about Lester was that he was so caring. He could see that she was running around so busy, always understaffed, and he would ask her every day, is she doing okay? And then the story goes, Lester came in and applied for a job, and the minute she realized who it was, he was, as you said, Lisa, virtually hired on the spot.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. She said, I mean, this Lester? When, yes, you start next week. Lester is like the governor of Woburn.
no, Maida.
Oh, the mayor. You want to be the mayor? Okay, yeah. Why are you the mayor?
Huh?
Because you know some people?
No,
Do you know a lot of people in Woburn?
yeah,
Yeah, why? Because you go a lot of places?
yeah.
Yeah.
Go any bar.
Go to bars. Oh,
You
no.
know.
You know, when we were prepping for this this webinar, we were joking a little bit about it, but more serious. We talk all the time at job camp about networking, and that's what, you know, today is there's less resume sending and more networking. And if there's ever been a definition of networking, finding a job, Lester, you did it. Can you tell us a few
Yeah.
tell us a few things about your job at Dave and Buster's, what you do there?
I do cleaning,
Tell him.
mopping,
Cleaning, mopping, yeah. What else?
washing,
Bathrooms,
carpets,
carpets.
mopping.
Is it a hard job or is it?
No, easy job.
It's easy?
Yeah.
Huh. I thought it looked hard to me. You,
Well,
I
we're-
think you do a great job there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Work's easy when you love what you do, right, Lester?
The people that you work with, are they nice?
yeah, nice. Yeah,
Awesome.
Everybody-
Well, I wanted to tell you that Linda sends her best to you, and they're hoping that, you know, hopefully in the near future, they've got some details to figure out because they're more than just a restaurant. So the state's trying to figure out which phase and bucket they land in. But they're hoping that in some capacity, they can get back to work soon, and you can get back to work soon, Lester.
okay.
He's
Sounds
very, very back to work,
Yeah.
very eager. You like sitting home
Awesome.
alone?
No, wood,
No, no. Yeah,
wood here.
it's boring here, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
You bored?
Are you bored? He wants to know if you're bored.
I would like some boring time in my life, but right now I'm not bored. But that's okay. It's good to be busy, and like I said, you know, you don't mind working when you love what you do. So,
I agree.
well, I
Well,
want to
thank
thank you both for being on, and Lisa, continued success in everything you're doing, and Lester, best of luck. I hope you get back to work soon, and I can't
Thank
wait to be back at New Boston Street.
All right, we can't wait to be back at New Boston Street either. We'll see you soon, Brett.
Okay,
Bye.
guys. Bye, Lester.
Bye.
That's great. It's good to see them both. Our next guest, Greg, if you want to bring Bill Struzzulo in, we'll wait till we get a visual on him. There he is, looking as professional as ever, Bill. This guy, I don't know if I've ever, yeah, I've seen him without a coat, not often without a tie on. So it must be casual Friday for you. Bill, it's great to see you. For those that don't know Bill, Bill Struzzulo, he's a principal at Bell Curve Trading Company, and he really is a globally recognized market strategist. And I know he was telling us a quick story earlier that he spends a lot of time in that seat being interviewed by a lot of big networks about, well, today is probably more crazy interviews than ever before, but what our market does and our financial world. But Bill, for whatever reason, and I know we've had the discussion a lot, Bill, you've dedicated almost a decade now of support to NuPath. And prior to that, you've always had a cause in your life that you've supported. But you've facilitated Job Camp for 7 years now. And I know today's Job Camp probably looks a lot different than it did 7 years ago. But I wonder if you could talk a little bit about what attracted you to NuPath, and then I know we wanted to have you transition into your experiences with Job Camp, and then what today's job market looks like for the world and for the people we support. So I'll kick it over to you. It's great to see you.
Great to see everybody. It's a Job Camp in NuPath. It's been kind of a long search for me. I've been doing this kind of social service volunteering for really decades now. I started in New York City with an organization called Jobs for Youth that helped at-risk young people get back on track. Young kids who had dropped out of school, got in trouble with the law. I was on that board for 8-9 years, then moved back to Boston, the Boston area, which is my hometown. And I've been involved in all different types of causes. Homelessness, immigrant assimilation, pregnant parenting teens. I spent 7 years volunteering with the Massachusetts Association for the Blind. And now with NuPath, 7 years for Job Camp, and I spent a full year before Job Camp putting the class together with a guy by the name of Yves Lamidi, who was a social worker at NuPath. And I can tell you, after decades of doing this kind of work, NuPath has been the most rewarding experience of all of that. And my mom asked me, one time, she said, "How did you become associated with NuPath? How did you find out what they were doing and approach them?" And the short answer is I did a Google search, and I wanted to. I always like to work in a different cause, and I had never worked with people with disabilities. So I wanted, because I feel like not only should you give something and help people, but you should also learn something and get something out of it yourself. And I always like to challenge myself with these assignments. And I had never done anything with people with disabilities. And my one kind of caveat in my search was I wanted somebody close by, because I work a lot of hours. And so I just did a Google search, and NuPath popped up as an organization that dealt with people with disabilities that was close by. So in one sense, it was a very kind of straightforward, quick process. But in another sense, I've been looking for NuPath for 20-25 years, because I've been looking for a place where I could go, have an impact, and really have make meaningful change in people's lives. And so, like I said, in one sense, it was a quick, easy Google search, but in another sense, I feel like I've been looking for this opportunity for my whole life. And I have absolutely benefited as much, if not more, from the whole journey than the people in Job Camp itself. And so, my thought was initially that there's no reason that people with disabilities should not be in the community working. And that's not a trivial challenge. The unemployment rate, even now, the heightened unemployment rates, about 13.5%. Before COVID, it was 3.5%. But the unemployment rate for adults with disabilities outside a care facility, meaning private sector unemployment for adults with disabilities, is over 80%. And in some sense, the whole goal of NuPath is to bring that number down in as dramatic a way as we can, because to me, that's it's criminal, because the people at NuPath want to work, they have the ability to work, and it's a life-changing thing, not just for the people who get the job, but also for the people in the community who have the ability to interact with some really special, amazing people.
Yeah, it's you know, I want to note, you know, when we were in the programs, it's every Friday you do. I know you've told me in the past you probably spend more time working than you don't. But you know, you make that time on Fridays to come in and you demand a respect of the program that any professor or facilitator would demand in any program, anywhere, any educational setting, any business setting. And the folks in our program respond really well to that. And you hold them to the expectations that they should be held to. They're dressed for it. They're respectful. They learn how to, you know, how to shake hands and look people in the eye and interview and write resumes and do job searches. And it's a pretty amazing, it's really an amazing program. And it's been great for me to be part of it when I can be part of it. But you and I continue to stay in contact and continue to kind of update each other on progress. What has the virtual program been like, and how has sort of the learning changed a little bit? Because you know, what it looks like to get a job tomorrow probably looks very different than what it did maybe 10 or 11 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's a good question. Look, I'm totally committed to this, and you know, COVID changed a lot of things. And at first, it was, you know, we kind of threw our hands up, like, what are we going to do? I mean, because I really miss being in the classroom. I really miss all the people. I miss Brian. I miss Lisa, Barry, and all the, you know, yourself, and seeing everybody. But you have to move forward and you have to adapt. And you know, Brian and Lisa have done an amazing job taking the whole curriculum and basically, you know, with the technology, you know, people like Greg and yourself and Brian and Lisa, we've been able to kind of move the whole thing online. And, you know, in some sense, you know, I still very much would rather do this in the class, but, and I anticipate that we go back to that at some point in time. But for now, this is the reality, and it's not just the reality at NuPath; it's the reality in the unemployment world, in the employment world. So this is how interviews are going to take place. They're going to take place over through technology, whether it's Zoom or Skype or some other way. And so we have to adapt and get people used to what the new normal is going to be. And you know, we've spent the last 5 or 6 weeks just trying to get everybody up to speed and understanding that, you know, when we last met at 147 New Boston, which wasn't that long ago, the unemployment rate was 3.5%. Now, even with today's jobs numbers, which surprised on the upside, unemployment is up to 13.5%. So we're trying to get people ready for a job market that's going to be a lot more competitive. There's going to be a lot smaller margin for error. We talked today about how, you know, you just can't show up for a 9 o'clock shift at 9 o'clock. You may have to be there 20, 30 minutes early, depending upon whether you need to, you know, have PPE or whatever the situation requires. And so we're not going to miss a beat. We're going to take everything. We're going to adapt it to the way things are now, and we're going to press forward. And you know, my goal and Lisa's goal and Brian's goal and Barry and Greg and all the job coaches is to get as many people out in the private sector working as possible, because the people in the program deserve that opportunity. They're qualified for it. And if the circumstances change, okay, we'll change and we'll adapt and we'll move forward.
Great, great. Well, it's awesome to see that continue, and that we don't miss a beat, and we continue to reinvent job camp. So, well, I know your days are busy, Bill, and you're going right back to work now, especially on a crazy market day like today. So I just want to, on behalf of the entire team at NuPath, thank you again and again and again for everything you do for us. We can't do it without you, and hopefully, the future is continuously bright, and we can all get back to work sooner than later. So thanks again. Have a great weekend, Bill.
You guys too. Take care. I miss everybody. Hope to see everybody soon.
Yeah, we miss you too.
Take care.
Okay, we are wrapping up a little early, so thanks for everybody giving me the opportunity to host today, and I hope it was enjoyable. It was for me. It's great to continuously connect with folks like Bill and Lisa and Lester and crew and Elder. So thanks to our guests, and we will hopefully have you tune in again next week, and we'll probably have a couple more virtual town halls as well. So keep an eye out for your emails and texts and all that good stuff. So signing off. Have a great weekend. Thank you.